afternoon, everybody. This is Eric with American Business Systems. It is the top of the hour. This is the webinar that I've been telling everybody to get ready for the last 3 to 4 weeks. So hopefully we have a great crowd today. So I'm going to be looking at the folks that are coming in here. Looks like we've got some folks that are already attending. So we got Jacob, Jonathan, Julie. We've got all the J's today. Marcy or Mary C. And there's someone there that has a name I will butcher trying to say, so please forgive me. But we got some more folks that are coming in here. So let's, if you'll get ready to enjoy this webinar today as we get started here. We're going to be interviewing Tim Warren, who is not only an ABS owner, but he is the director of support. I think maybe his title maybe has even changed, so he'll have to help me with that. But we'll get him on the line here in just a second. We're gonna wait for a few more folks to pop in here. Got some more folks that are piling in. Good to see some folks here. We've got Caden, good to see you. Yeah, we got some folks. There we go. Here they all come in. All right, so folks, this is going to be a very fast hour, as I keep telling everybody week to week, simply because we've got so much information to give you, and we try to crunch as much as we can within an hour's time. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here on the introduction, except just to make sure, because there's some people on here I've never seen before. So I know that there's some brand new folks here, and I want to make sure that they've got the information as we kind of get started here. So first of all, you know that we're doing an interview today with Tim Warren. He is the Director of Support here at American Business Systems. You're going to really enjoy the webinar today. This is a great opportunity for you to ask questions to Tim and me while we'll be on the webinar this afternoon. We'll do our best to get your questions answered. If there's a question that you ask, and I know that we're going to get to it maybe a little bit further down in the webinar, I'll just tell you that I see your question, and I'll just tell you that we'll get to it just shortly, because I know that we're going to get to it, and I know everybody else wants to hear the answer to that. Let me again introduce myself. My name is Eric Auger. I'll be the one leading out in this webinar, and then Tim will come by my side. But here's what I want everybody to do: that if you'll go find your Q&A box, a little Q&A chat area right there, that's how we can communicate with one another. What I'd like for you to do is just tell me the state from where you're calling from, and that's helpful because number one, you learn where the Q&A box is. And then, obviously, I just kind of like to know where everybody's calling in from. So we've got Zena from Michigan. There we go. So we've got the central states kind of work there. Jacob from California. Good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see who else we got over there. Come on, folks. I know that there's more. Here's some Texas, South Carolina, another Texas, Pennsylvania. So this is wonderful. This is what I love about it. We've got Massachusetts. Where else have we got here? Charleston, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, Jonathan from Pennsylvania. Good to have everybody here. We are coast to coast today, folks. This is what's so wonderful about doing these webinars, and I appreciate everybody that is here today typing in and popping in here. I'm going to click out some of these so that whenever I get to see real questions come up, then I'll know that not just looking at states there. So thank you for everybody that participated. Folks, we are fast approaching 30 years of being in business. We've just figured out, hey, we're past the halfway mark here in the year, and we get to say that come January 1, we will be celebrating 30 years of business here, which is a huge accomplishment with any business nowadays. To know that we have survived recessions, we have survived the COVID issue, just a couple of years ago. We've survived people whenever we thought that we might be going to a one-payer source. And I know that some people still wonder if we're still, that's still going to happen, but I can assure you that's probably never going to happen. Nick is also from Michigan. It's good. Thank you. Appreciate you saying that there. But folks, we've survived just about anything and everything that you can imagine here at American Business Systems. And that's why we believe that this is a great business opportunity for you to join, because obviously it's going to be around for quite some time. Obviously, as you'll hear the story from Tim this afternoon of his longevity of being here with American Business Systems and his story, how he even got here. You'll see that there's a lot of business opportunities out there, and this one has fit very well with his family, he and his family. So that's what's important. The crux of what we do, folks, if you haven't gotten it by now, we're in medical billing. There's a platform that we use. It's there by NextGen. Their NextGen platform there that can be utilized to do the billing. It has everything that's needed, which includes, again, for some of you who might know a little bit about billing, it has its own built-in clearinghouse. Now, if I just said something that just you don't know anything about, just mark it down that you're going to want to get back with your business coach here at American Business Systems and say, Eric mentioned something about the billing system having its own clearinghouse. Can you show me a demonstration of what he's talking about? They'll be happy to do that. And they'll explain it to you why it's important that your billing system actually has its own clearinghouse. And it's pretty important as you're trying to even get clients. So we'll talk a little bit about that this afternoon. But if you really want to see it in action, get back with your business coach. But also, part of the entire package here at American Business Systems comes with all of these different lines of services. Now, Tim is going to share with you some new things that is actually coming on board for support that also is included with your one-time fee here. Now, you may have recalled back, I think last week, we were able to share a little bit that come January 1st, I do know the price is going up. I haven't heard the final number of it, but right now it's at $28,990. That's everything included. So a lifetime of support, lifetime of all these different services that come on board. Any new training that ever comes around, that's all included. There's never a time that we're going to come back with you and say, hey, I know that you purchased a couple of years ago. We've added some new things. If you want those new things, you're going to have to pay up. We don't ever do that, have never done that in 30 years, and not about to start now. But let me tell you about the genesis, basically, of American Business Systems. It started with this couple here, Patrick and Linda Phillips. Patrick and Linda were back in the days where trying to be an entrepreneur was looking at everything. But one of the things that came around their corner was that Linda was asked to do medical billing by a group that does what's called durable medical equipment. And he asked Linda, he says, have you ever done medical billing? I've got this durable medical equipment company. I need someone to file some claims for me. She goes, I've never done it, but let's take a look at it. Because at that time, Patrick was working and doing some other entrepreneurial stuff. And then this came along to help support the family. And what was found was, gosh, this isn't too difficult. Maybe we can package all this up and teach others how to do this. And that's what they've been able to do. That's how it all got started. And back early on, obviously, this young man here, Adam Phillips, who's now taking control of the helm here as the CEO of American Business Systems, grew up in medical billing. This is all he's ever known. So it's just obviously that this stays within the family, and Adam's doing a great job of taking over the leadership here at American Business Systems since Patrick has officially retired. And I know that he tried to do that several times, and he kept coming back. And this time he is retired, and he's enjoying life there. Now, Adam is taking the role of his dad in some of the areas of even writing. He's got a couple of books out. He does some editorial things for the Billing and Coding Advantage magazine that comes out bi-monthly. And he's also the founder of an organization called MIRMA. And Tim and I will be talking about a little bit about that. And MIRMA is the group that actually provides your certification here once you complete the entire training. So with all that said and out of the way, and I think we've got some more folks that have come in here, which is good. It kind of gives a little people who are kind of wrapping up something and wanting to come on in here. I think we've got everybody that's going to be on here today afternoon. So I'm going to bring Tim Warren on at this point. Tim, why don't you go ahead and pop your camera open, make sure you're unmuted, and I think we're ready to go. You there?
I am here. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. Tim and I, he and I go back years. We were talking about when he started here, and I think as you'll see in this timeline that we're going to show you, I think you've been around with ABS for over 11 years now, huh?
Certainly have.
So a third of their 30 years.
That's right. Yeah, that's kind of amazing to think about that. It's the first 10 years just flew by, and it just didn't seem like it was possible that we had been doing this for 10 years, and now we're starting. Let's see, I guess we were 2012, so we're starting our 12th
Yeah,
year now because we don't follow a calendar on our
sure.
fiscal year. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was whenever I first met Patrick and the team here, that was a little over 16 years ago. And
mhm.
I've been with them for over 16 years. So it's just amazing how time does fly. And I even remember whenever you came through training and heard your story, and but it's a great story. It's a story I'm sure everybody on the webinar today that's on here
Yeah.
would love to hear. Can be some similarities of some things. So Tim, I'd say let's just kind of start off with your journey here. But before we do that, obviously the lady sitting next to you makes you look good. Tell us about who Robin is, and then we'll go from there.
I don't know how good she makes me look. It makes it a little tougher to, she's just too good looking.
Yes.
So, Robin and I have been married for over 20 years now, and she started with us in our company's called Observus Solutions, and she started with us. I think we started May 1st of a year, and by January she came full time. She'd been working for 8 years at Coca-Cola bottling in our area here, and she had a great job and that sort of thing. But this thing sort of launched, and we were able to earn back everything that we paid for our license in the first year with one client.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we talk about that quite often here. But let's go ahead and jump into your timeline here. So let's take you all the way back, roll the clock back to 2007. What was going on in Tim's world then?
well, I'd spent 20 something years in the musical instrument business. If nobody knows any other guitar, you've probably heard of a Fender guitar. I worked for them for a number of years and worked for other manufacturers during that time. And in 2007, I decided to set up my own independent rep firm. And some of the guys that I had worked with, we started that up, and we were kind of a sales force for hire for
Yeah.
musical instrument manufacturers, music and audio.
Yeah.
And that's so it was a real challenge in 2008 when the economy kind of collapsed.
Yes.
And but even during that, as much of a struggle as it was, we were able to grow the first year, and the second year, and the third year. And the third year is when everything exploded for us, and we haven't looked back since then.
Yeah, you bet. Well, obviously, first thing that everybody should see here right off the bat here is that you didn't come in here with a medical background.
I did not. No. Robin had worked, she had worked for a company that managed outpatient surgery centers,
Okay.
but she had nothing to do with billing or anything else. She was working for the CEO as the executive admin, and she understood what they were doing, but she had no experience in it, and I had zero
Yeah.
experience. So
So you started looking for business opportunities. Obviously, if
I
you're
did.
kind of in that transition, you're trying to figure out what's going on with your music business, and
Hmm.
came across ABS, and you had some conversation with Adam.
I did.
But it looks like that was 3 years. So
It's yeah.
what happened
That
there?
Yeah, that was kind of funny because I couldn't figure out how on earth that ABS could afford, since it's not a franchise model. I couldn't figure out how they were going to offer lifetime support for anyone without a residual amount of money coming from the licensee.
Yeah,
And so when he finally explained it in detail to me, I was like, wow, that's brilliant.
yeah,
You yeah, wish I'd thought of that.
exactly.
And it's funded all of the support going forward. Um, we were looking after the economy kind of collapsed in 2008 and 9. we started looking at other things, and we looked at the time it was mailboxes, et cetera, which turned
Yeah.
into UPS stores,
Yeah.
and we looked at Subway shops and things like that. And when we just decided that when you really read the fine print, you had to do things a certain way. You couldn't vary from that,
Right.
which didn't suit me particularly well. And it seemed like that you just couldn't make the kind of revenue that you really wanted to without having three locations for
Right.
both of those franchises.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and and the return on investment for ABS, it seemed too good to be true, but it's played out exactly as advertised for us.
Yeah. Well, and that's the same story we tell all the time, that one client can get your return on investment. And
Hmm.
I think just last week I did a webinar on what kind of money can be made here with American Business Systems. Kind of just go through the numbers there, and it's nothing
Hmm.
that's secretive about what we charge for someone that's in doing billing for a doctor, what we charge or what they charge. And
Right.
you can just work the numbers. I mean, it's just pretty easy. And you kind of go, wow, okay, if that's the kind of money that can be made, which I guess
Hmm.
that's what kind of lit your light there, kind of go and moving forward. So
Right.
uh, let's move on over. So you had this, well, down at the bottom, apparently, I was jumping from there. So Adam calls you out of the blue,
He did. I
catch
think
up.
he had given up on me and had nothing better to do that day. So
Yeah, he was just going through old leads and trying to, oh, well, let me give this guy a call back and see if
right.
he'd be interested. So that was shortly after that, you guys joined in 2012.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, May 1st of 2012 is when we started. I think the training was, it's when you were still doing live training out in the Dallas metro area.
Yes.
I came out there for classroom training, and I think that was in April of 2012.
Yeah. And then you guys, it looks like you signed your first client in that same year.
We did. It was very near the end of the year. I was doing everything I could wrong for the first 6 months, and so I figured out that I was a little too stubborn, and I went back to the drawing board, did it exactly as I had been taught. And I think it was just the arrogance of coming from a background of sales
Sure.
and not being willing to change. And I would say, I got this.
Yeah.
And I didn't got that.
Yeah.
So, but once I started following the plan more closely, I had the first client was in 2 months.
Yeah. And that's the story that I think everybody needs to hear that's on the
Yeah.
webinar, and that will listen to it maybe even a little bit later, is that everybody wants to know, Tim, how many people fail at this business, And I probably think that just about everybody that signs up fails somehow, you know.
Well, nothing worth doing is ever easy.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
and I failed at different aspects of it, but most of it was my own doing.
Yeah.
And nobody has to follow a cookie cutter approach to it, because that's one of the things that I love about ABS the most, is that they gave us enough freedom to actually go out and be able to do some things our way, as long as we followed generally the path that they had laid out. And it's a good combination.
Yeah, there you go. And then a year later, it looks like
Mhm.
Robin is quitting her job, and then
Yep,
you
that
guys
was in
picked up a couple more.
January of 2013.
Yeah, and picked up a couple more clients in there. And so
Hmm.
Observis is well on its way at this point.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
And
and,
that,
and then 2014, Tim is asked by me, Eric Auger, to take a look at a large group practice who is in next gen, struggling with reports on behalf of a practice management consultant. Let's talk
mhm.
about that, because
Okay,
that was a pivotal point for you, I think.
it absolutely was. The things that I learned were, position yourself as an expert, and get good referral partners and things like that. And you provided an opportunity to talk to somebody that really changed our lives.
Yeah. And that's what's helpful, folks. We're here to help you to get those clients and even expand what you do. Um, I remember even joining you. I wish we had those pictures, but
I know. I was
we
thinking about that earlier.
we did a wasn't a lunch and learn. What was that? That was a conference.
It was a medical conference. That
Yeah.
was Lake Conroe, Texas, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know now, I think we used to, whenever I say we used to, American Business Systems had a booth that can be used at a conference center. I think that one's been retired, but there's a new one out there, isn't there?
There is a new one, a brand new one.
Yeah, so let's
Yeah,
talk about that real quickly so people understand what we're discussing here.
sure. Well, there are actually two display booths that can be used by the business owners. So if you are going to a lunch and learn, some kind of little conference, or a full-blown 10 by 10 booth conference, then there is a full height, full width, and it really kind of looks like one of those flyers that you showed earlier. It's
Yes.
based on the same kind of graphics, and it looks fantastic. It's very easy to set up, and it's basically you just pull it out of the case and pull it apart, and it sets up, and you stretch everything over the front of it, and it looks like $1 million. And you can use that, and all you have to do is pay for the freight to and from.
Yep. So that's another
That'll
benefit.
save you a couple of grand, huh?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And have
And
everything that you have to go along with it.
yeah, and there's another one that fits the 8 foot booths,
Yeah,
and those are tabletop displays.
that
It's
was
very
awesome.
similar. It's just a smaller version for a tabletop.
So you began to start speaking at these conferences after a while, though.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
That was
now
that was
now
the
you're
thing
really
that
starting.
really changed everything.
Yeah. I mean, so and that may not be the cup of tea for everybody. You
Hmm.
know, you're a guy that likes to get in front of folks and probably your ham is like I am. I don't mind talking to strangers.
Yeah,
We'll get up there and make fools of ourselves if we need to, but we'll figure out what we need to say and do. But that may not be everybody. So it's not like that's the only way that you're going to get clients. But for Tim, that was one of those ways that just fit a niche, and he became an expert in a lot of different areas. So then from there, I mean, you're starting to speak at medical conferences, and then you add more stuff to Observus. You end up doing a call center, and
I did. Yeah.
man, you're just going wild with your billing company.
Yeah, and we were really pleased that ABS they didn't throw a wet blanket on us doing something that we weren't taught to do.
Yeah,
We just got an opportunity from one of our clients to upsell them and put together a call center, and that became pretty lucrative for us.
yeah, man. And then 2018 rolls around, and then obviously 2019, and at this point, you're becoming a coach here at ABS, I believe.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, success coach. We have about 8 success coaches on board right now, and most everybody has like a special skill set.
yes,
So if there's something that we feel like that someone could benefit from, that someone else can mentor them and
sure.
show them a different way to look at things. Sometimes that's extremely helpful, is just getting a different perspective. So the success coaches, we try to use them with people to help them to get to their first client primarily. One of the things that makes this business possible is the repetition. And
Yes,
we find that, in support, once people have signed their second client, we almost never hear from them again, simply because, oh, they got this now, because they're doing
sure,
the same thing every day, and it's
sure.
very easy to get good at it very quickly.
Yep, gotcha. Yeah, and then leading all the way up to 2020, which is obviously the breakout of COVID and all that, everything.
Hmm.
ABS is going strong. You're going strong. Matter of fact,
Hmm.
ABS brings you on as part of the support team. Now
Yep.
you're the director or vice president of support. I don't know what your
I don't
title.
know. It depends on what day it is, what my title is.
But then
No,
Robin
they
is
call me a VP, but that's fine.
okay. But Robin's join the support team as well. So
Yes.
you've got a lot of things going on. So I know that you mentioned earlier, right before we got on, I think this is a great time to talk about it because
Mm.
Cecilia is asking the question here. She piped this in here just a little bit earlier. She's saying or asking, do you teach how the new business owners who she goes, I've been doing medical billing since 2006, but it's been 10 years since I've worked, so I'm rusty. So why
Mhm.
don't you talk to us about a little bit about support, and we'll get into some of the online training and some of that here. But
Sure.
this is a good time to kind of talk about, where it is and what you're doing with support, kind of moving forward.
Well, Robin's my wife, and Robin came to work with us in the support team in April of this year.
Mhm.
And one of the things that she came to do was to do an advanced training for us that can be taken online for medical billing. And it'll be all about coding, billing, workflow, things like that, uh, payer relations, things like that, AR follow-up, all those things. And so we've got a great resource in our support team. Even though I know what all of those things do and that sort of thing, there's nothing like having somebody that really did that work day in, day out to support all the business owners.
Right.
And so she's building out the advanced training, and that'll be offered to all existing licensees at no charge.
Great.
That's one of the things. And then we're also in the middle of building out a marketing advanced training because there are new things that have come out since we've built the initial training, and just feel like that's going to be something that we might be able to take advantage of. There's things coming up all the time that are changing the world of marketing and sales.
Absolutely. Yeah. And things that are working specifically
Mhm.
for this industry, because
Right.
obviously marketing Fender guitars is not the same as marketing to doctors,
No.
as you well learned.
Yeah, everybody knows what, when I was selling stuff like that, then they knew what I was selling when I walked in, so it was fine. So
Exactly.
there's a built-in demand for it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so folks, now it's a good time. We're at the kind of at the bottom of the hour. So it's a good time for if you've got any particular questions to start popping those in there for Tim. But let's
Right.
first of all kind of talk about once somebody becomes an ABS business owner, at that point, they're kind of, I know that they go through their training. Obviously, they're introduced to support. So kind of just take us on a journey of what it means. Okay, I've just started with ABS. What happens next?
Okay. So once you're done with your initial training and you've received your certificate,
Mhm.
then we have a lady by the name of Joanne who contacts everybody, makes sure that all your initial materials are shipped to you along with your certificate, that sort of thing. Then in the process of all that, you'll schedule your welcome to support call.
Okay.
And there are three of us that can help you through. And the main thing that we try to accomplish is to make sure you know where all your resources are, make sure that you know about things that you may not have heard about yet, making sure you can navigate the support website, and telling you how to get the most out of your first few months as an ABS licensed business owner.
Okay.
That's what we do first.
So somebody they get their paperwork done, they got
Mhm.
their investment behind them. So as soon as that, does someone contact them to kind of get them scheduled for this one-on-one training? Does that come from support? Or does that come from somebody else?
Actually, in the initial training, there is a slide that they put together
Okay.
that has a link on it, and then you just link it so that you can set an appointment with our support team at a time that's convenient for you.
Okay. Good.
And we have a master booking calendar. That's another big thing for this year that we've introduced, that everybody can link to that and they can see everybody's schedule and support.
Great.
And you can find times, and you can book either calls or Zoom meetings, things like that, to get support.
Yeah, you bet. And then, so they're going to go through, there's 10 modules to their training. This is a
Right.
one-on-one. Now, y'all heard earlier that we used to bring everybody here to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which was a lot of fun. And
It was.
I can't say anything bad about it. It was really a great week. It was always a fun build up to it, and getting everybody in there, getting to know the people kind of one-on-one there. But then, after 5 days, everybody goes home. Here, with the new training that we have, which was even prior to COVID, before COVID did hit, because COVID would have
Sure was.
that had put us.
It would have been hard if we had
Yeah.
to figure out what to do when that happened, but
But
we
we
had
were
already
doing-
done it.
Yeah, we
So-
were already doing one. We were on live training like we're doing now via Zoom, and it's one-on-one, and it's 10 modules. Each module is about 90 minutes long, and it gives you opportunities to slow your learning down just a little bit. I know that whenever you came through, we did those. It was really the old adage, drinking out of a fire hydrant.
That's right.
And what you didn't get, hopefully you could get it on the back end. And if you remember, whenever at the end of the training, we used to send you home with these DVDs.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was a boatload of more training.
Still got them.
Keep them. Who knows that they may not be sold on eBay one day
And,
for a lot
and
of
a
money.
big binder.
And a big old binder, big old honking binder. But now everything's obviously electronic. You got and it can take anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks to get through the training.
Mhm.
And it's a little bit slower pace. Your instructor here actually gives you a little bit of homework to do in between sessions. So by the time you get through with the training, you really do know a lot more than what we used to be able to do and accomplish. But obviously, we had some great success with the training classes as well. So we get through the onboarding, the training. We got the one-on-one live. We got expert trainers that are there. I'm going to jump past the next slide. I'm going to go to this slide here because someone just asked, and Jacob asked, do I have to use ABS branding or can I have my own business name and branding? So I put this up here, folks, because I want to answer his question two ways. First of all, Jacob, you do want to have your own name. You don't have to carry the ABS branding because what we don't want your potential doctor, is to come back through and see that you've created this through a business opportunity. That might not do so well. But what we do is we do have MIRMA. Now, MIRMA is the organization that is our nationwide public domain out there, so to say, for all of our business owners. And you can utilize this as part of your branding because it's MIRMA who actually does the certification. Tim, you want to add more to all that I said about branding and MIRMA and all that?
Yeah, because of the way that ABS and MIRMA interact with all the business owners, if you were to walk into a practice and say, "Hey, I'm affiliated with ABS," they're not going to know who you are. They're not going to know what you're talking about. But MIRMA, they're much more likely to recognize the name, the logo, that sort of thing. And it's the largest network of certified medical revenue managers in the country. And it's pretty easy to explain that to them. And all you have to do is just say, hey, we've just opened up a local office for that. And that sort of solidifies exactly in their mind that you are more visible and credible than you would be if you were trying to say, oh, I'm with ABS.
Yeah, or you're just starting off brand new.
That's right.
No support.
That's correct.
Yeah. Nick is asking, after all the training, can we rewatch those recordings?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I honestly, you can, but I really like sending everybody to the full LSS website because everything that's a new training, because we come out with new training things and we record all the webinars for replay and that sort of thing. So all the latest, greatest is right there on the LSS. And if something's updated, you wouldn't get that from your original recordings. Getting it there is probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, so the LSS is the ABS licensee support site, and that's
Mhm.
branded it that way. It's always what we've known it
Yep.
as. But it is updated weekly. Every week there's something new. Gosh, every time I log in there week to week, there's something new up there. Possibly even some new uh, lines of business,
Yes,
sources, resources that are up there all the time.
I have one new one that I can't talk about, so
Okay, text it to me so I can know.
I'll do.
But no, this is awesome that because it's all fresh, and as y'all heard earlier, that we used to send everybody home with these DVDs, which is basically a recording of the training. And if there was anything new, we'd have to send you out a new DVD. Now that we've got the website, and it's very powerful, it's a lot of information out there. If you'll go back, I think a couple of webinars, I actually spent some time and went to the licensee support site live with the folks on the webinar that day, and kind of showed you around and kind of mapped it out. Now, one of the things that you can do that we're not going to have time to do that day to jump off of this and get into the LSS. But if you're going to schedule with your business coach here at American Business Systems a demonstration of the billing system and the electronic medical record system, the iClaim and EMRX, go ahead and bundle the time to say, hey, while we're at it, can you show me the licensee support site? They'll be happy.
Right.
So, just take that time. Jacob's asking the question, what is MIRMA's membership procedures, and do you help with the membership?
Help with membership. I don't.
Membership to the MIRMA.
Oh, yeah. Well, so once you've completed all your training, then you get your certification. You're automatically added as a member in good standing with MIRMA. Um, the the MIRMA is where all future educational programs will be pushed through, and you can earn additional certifications. We're going to have a couple of programs coming down the pike in the
Good.
near future that will be certifiable as well.
There you go. He just said thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate it, Jacob.
No problem.
Now, you mentioned something on the LSS about weekly or educational webinars that you do. That's obviously it's a webinar, but it's a webinar educational piece for ABS business owners. Talk to us about how that happens. What do you guys do? What do you talk about? What is all this about?
Well, some of the webinars are going to be like this particular picture right here is of a roundtable that we did
Okay.
with some of our business owners. And those are some of my favorite ones
Yes.
because we actually get input from all of the people that are out in the field and sharing the things that they've encountered and how they overcame obstacles, that sort of thing. So I really like doing the roundtable webinars. We also have webinars that we do with our technology partners. They'll come in and they'll do if they're offering a new service or if they've made a change to their platform, things like that. And they'll even do marketing seminars, that sort of thing. All of our webinars like that are recorded and they are saved to the LSS for posterities, and you can replay those on demand.
Yeah. I went out there a couple of weeks ago. Again, I was getting ready to do the webinar that really was showcasing the LSS, and I thought it's been a while since I've been on there. Just the amount of information that's out there is incredible.
Yeah, it's almost too much some days, but
Yes,
yeah, I'd rather have too much than not enough.
you bet. Yeah,
And it sort of lends itself to being able to chart your own path through it. You don't have to use every single technique, every single service, that sort of thing. But there's so much there that you can build your business around whatever
yeah,
speaks to you and your sensibilities.
yep. Kevin, he's asking about how do you market your business to potential clients? I first want to go back over to something you said, I think in your timeline here. Then I'm going to jump over about some other things that we do, but I think you were in this one here. In 2012, you said that you joined BNI. Let's talk about that first and the importance of networking And then I'm
Sure.
going to jump over to that slide over there talking about Dr. Rackner.
Okay.
Yep.
So that was one of the things that I felt like that I was doing wrong because I was using my traditional sales training.
Yep.
This is more consultative selling, and it's all about relationships. And BNI is a place where you can nurture relationships and that sort of thing, and you can build your confidence.
Yeah.
And it helps you to bounce things off of other people and kind of refine everything that you're doing before you're face to face with your ultimate client.
Hmm.
And BNI was a great thing. If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have gotten my first client
Yeah.
when I did. Um, and it came directly out of the BNI, and it was 2 months in.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm a big fan of BNI. There is a cost associated with it, and it's not for everyone, but it is a great tool to use if you're comfortable with that marketing.
Sure. And I was going to answer that. Jacob just said, what is BNI? It stands for Business Networking International. And what it is, it's just a group that is usually going to be in your area. Jacob, you could probably look it up, just type in BNI from whatever city that you're a part of, and it's going to
Yeah,
pop up.
it's
And
yeah. So if you go to bni.com, you can
yeah,
say find a chapter, and
okay.
then you put it in there, and they'll have their own website that you can navigate to. You can even see who's in the chapter, what different kinds of businesses, and that sort of thing. And that's what I did. And
Yeah.
I would visit several chapters before I picked one that I
Yes.
was going to join.
Yeah, and you can visit those for free
Yes, you
uh,
can.
for the first one or two visits. I can't remember
Two
if it was
visits.
2 visits, and they're pretty selective. So it's not like if you join this networking group that there's going to be 4 real estate agents and 4 bankers. It's
Mhm.
going to be 1 real estate agent, 1 banker, and
Mhm.
probably there's not going to be another medical billing company in there.
There-
Uh,
it's be unusual if you ran into one that had a medical biller in it,
yeah,
but you can see that on their website.
sure.
So,
Yeah, so that's a great place to start. And that's one of the ways, really, networking in and of itself is one of the best ways to help that because it's building
mhm.
relationships. And Tim, every time I talk about a webinar of how we help you get clients, and I've even started challenging our people that have been on the webinars, go find a BNI or your local chamber of commerce
Mhm.
uh, and just go visit because folks, you can do that without ever putting a dime down to do anything with ABS because you're going to go into business, and what people need to know is what kind of business you're in because doing working and networking with people, they're going to know a doctor, and it would be great if I were at a BNI and I met somebody like a Tim Warren, and I get to know Tim, and Tim goes, "Well, Eric, tell me what you do. I do this medical billing thing to help doctors, collect money that they're losing every day." He goes, "Oh my goodness, I just ran into my doctor who's my neighbor who is, losing. He told me the other day he's about to really roll it all up." Well,
Mhm.
okay, well, can you put me in touch? Boom, you got a relationship already.
That's right. And
That's
that's
how this thing
exactly how it happens
is
in that network.
exactly. I mean, that's the beauty of it. Now, that's with trying to get your client through a BNI or some type of networking. Let's talk a little bit about Dr. Rackner because we do something a little bit differently here.
Mhm.
Dr. Rackner has joined the team here. Oh my gosh, I would almost say she's been around for almost 10 years. But she's written a
Yeah.
book, Myth of the Rich Doctor. She co-wrote a book with Patrick Phillips, The New Thriving Medical Practice. But folks, if you can see right there in the middle, it looks like a letter. Well, that's a letter that Dr. Rackner can send on your behalf to the doctor that you're wanting to market to. Tim, how does that work?
So we have web forms on the ABSLSS website,
Mhm.
and you fill out all of the things, and we customize the letter. Dr. Reichner signs off on it, and we have one person dedicated to all custom materials like that. Not only that, but one of the books that is available through our support team. You are able to write a custom foreword in the book and have your name on the book as if you wrote the foreword for the book, or they can use a boilerplate and you can just read it and accept it, and it will be printed and it will be something that you're a part of.
Yes. So that's a we got asked a question about how we help you get clients. We just shared as best we can within about 5 minutes how to do that.
Yep.
Obviously, we're going to need to start wrapping up here because we got about 15 more minutes. But Zena is asking the question, Tim, how many doctors can one biller handle before thinking of hiring new billers and growing one's business?
It's a great question.
Yep.
So in my experience, this is what's true for my company. We found that we could do about each agent could do about 1,500 claims per month. The average doctor generates somewhere between 300 and 500 claims. So about 3 doctors that are full time, maybe 4, something like that. So that was our best rule of thumb that we came up with.
You bet. Let's see. What else are we wanting to talk about here? Let's talk about some of the marketing. Well, no, let's go back over to here. You'd mentioned earlier about a coach, success coaches. Let's talk about this group of folks here. Obviously, we have more than just the 8 that are here. I think you said they're up to 12 or so, in all different specialties. Why don't you kind of talk about how this helps a brand new person that's getting started here with ABS?
Oh, sure. So the guy that you've got right up there in the top right is Don Bowen, and he's a great face-to-face marketer.
Yes.
I mean, we do a lot of training and support to help people develop their presentations and that sort of thing. Don, he's like a drill sergeant. He's awesome, and it's a numbers game with him. He is a great mentor for forcing you to go beyond your comfort zone and see more people, because at the end of the day, you just got to see enough people. You're going to find a client.
Right.
And as long as you're willing to put the effort into that, he's a great example of one of our many success coaches that will help you to develop a strategy and to implement it.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what this, and again, there's no additional charge for setting up a time with one of these success coaches. It's all part of the ongoing support here that we have here for you.
It is.
Now, you mentioned earlier a little bit about a book. I'll show the book here, but there's other things that people can have their kind of, I think going back to one of the questions someone asked, can I have my own name? Do I have to brand it with ABS? So this is where we get to talk a little bit about how you get to brand it yourself. So you get your own logo, your own name, but all of these are marketing flyers. Now, obviously look kind of small because we have to scrunch them on a slide here, but these are regular 8.5 by 11, very thick paper, glossy type paper.
Very professional looking, very.
Yeah. And we moved some things around there to put your contact on there. It's not a sticker, it's not a label. It's actually printed on there whenever it gets through the 4-color printing.
Yep, and same process for ordering all of these. You get to set up your account with the printer and then order those. And Eric, they still get credits to get a certain number of those up front.
Yes.
With their, so, and you can reorder them if you run out of anything.
Yeah. And I think I rarely ever hear anybody running out of these.
I still have stacks of these things left over from 11 years ago. So
so you got the flyers to the left. Now I brought this one here because now you've got your website, and obviously we know it's important for someone to have a website. Most people get stuck on building their website when they're trying to get started. But let's talk about the process of what it is going to take to have their own unique company website here with ABS.
Okay. So we have a web development partner. Nick is outstanding, and they have a number of templates to choose from. They'll send you a request to get certain information from you, and they'll build it all out. And if you need customized pages or things like that, that's an extra thing. But there is a full-featured website that is out of the box. It looks fantastic. It's got sliders and all kinds of things. It looks very high end.
Yes.
And they put that as your website.
Yeah, which would probably cost most folks, if they did something like that,
Thousands,
a couple of $1,000, you know.
at least.
Yeah. So this is also included in your package here. So
Mhm.
you're certainly going to want to take advantage of having it. Now, this is not like multi-level marketing, because there are some
No.
places that you can go out there and they have this weird address with a slash with your kind of your name on it. That
Nope.
is not how this is. You're going to
This
have
is your own domain.
your own
Yeah.
domain, and it's going to be www, like, you know, yours was Observis, whatever it was.
Observis, yeah,
Yeah.
observis.com.
Yeah, so it's going to be your own unique web page, because you're going to have that. Nick is saying, how long would it take me to make one roughly? Nick, are you asking about how long it would take you to make a website
Or one of these websites.
or one of these websites? If you're asking about one of these types of websites, how long does it take you whenever you turn in all the information and it takes you? Yes.
It's usually done within 5 days.
Yeah, so five days. It's you know, you got templates to choose from. Then you've got to kind of pick and choose all the other things that you need on it. Obviously, you're going to have to upload and get your logo up to, you know, and then all the things you need for your
Right.
URL. By this time it's all tested and done, 5 days you're up and running.
Right.
Yeah, and it's usually, because I think the trainer for ABS goes through that during their training, so it's a process that they start doing pretty much at the beginning.
During training, you can start then. If you get it finished before the end of training, your website can actually be up and running by the time you're finished with training.
Sure. Nick's asking another question of here. How much can you make out of one doctor? Do you want to answer that question? Do you want me to help answer that question?
I'll let you, and then
You can add to it.
I'll confirm or deny.
Nick, you can make a billion dollars with one doctor. No, really, with one doctor, if you're doing and you can see this on our website. There's a web on our website, absystems.com. You can go all the way down to the bottom. There's an income calculator down there, so you can kind of figure this out. But typically, and again, I did this last Wednesday's webinar. So if you go on our YouTube channel, you can go check it out. And you go look. It was entitled "How Much You Can Make as Doing Medical Billing." So with one doctor, typically that doctor's going to see 25 to 30 patients a day. Typically, you're going to do the billing for that doctor anywhere from 6 to 8%. So I just choose 7% there. The reimbursement on that could be anywhere from $100 to $150 on the reimbursement. So if you just take those numbers, you're going to be in the ballpark anywhere from $45,000 to $60,000 in revenue with that one doctor. Tim?
And this is a true story. This is legit because I didn't believe it when it happened, but we had a client that was a podiatrist, and then he started doing skin graft,
Yes.
which is a fairly significant amount of money for one of those procedures. And so they were using manufactured skin. You know, it was done from fish flesh, and they were growing it in the lab. But he would do those skin grafts on there, and those things were 10 or 20 grand.
Yeah.
That one doctor, it was a one doctor podiatry practice, was a 5-figure per month revenue.
Wow.
And
Okay. Yeah.
just ridiculous.
So you can make $1 billion with one doctor.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
So that's usually it. But again, if we're just talking just a regular normal doctor,
your rule of thumb is somewhere between $2,500 and $6,000 a month.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to vary, but for the most part, you can count on per doctor from $2,500 to $6,000 per month.
You bet. That's about, you nailed it there. So, but you can go look at the calculator. You can go look at the webinar that we did
Mhm.
last week, folks, and that'll kind of help you out here. All right, so we've got about 5 more minutes, Tim. Let's
Okay.
talk real quickly, because there's no other questions. So, folks, if you've got some questions that you want to ask, now's a great time to throw those in here last minute. But let's just kind of talk about ABS. I mean, obviously, you and I have been a part of ABS. We put your number and my number combined. Been here 16 years. You've been here a little over 11. We've
Mhm.
been here almost as long as ABS has been around. And our combined knowledge about ABS. Where do you see ABS in the next 5 years? Is it going to be around, you think?
Oh yeah. You know, I get people asking me something like that all the time. Everybody thinks that AI is going to destroy everything.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening in my lifetime, but I mean, that's getting shorter every day. But I don't see it happening in my lifetime. It's just that there is so much that a human being brings to that. Medical billing is more like an art.
Yes.
And I feel like that because of that, they're only making things more difficult for doctors to get paid. There's never been a time that we're more needed than we are right now.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. So,
And it's a good opinion. I mean, because obviously, you know, who would have thought whenever you came on board in 2012, right? It was
mhm.
2000 was the year you
Yep.
that because I think people back then were asking, gosh, is this going to be around? And
hmm
I remember whenever I do some webinars with Patrick, you know, people back earlier on when ABS just got started, is it going to be around? And he thought, well, yeah, every year we're growing and we've got
Yep.
people that are doing well in it and doctors
Our
still need
our
help.
company grew during COVID,
Yeah, yeah,
and I mean, how many people can say, we did fine during COVID
yeah.
because not many people grew. So,
No, no, not during that time. Keeping you on here, let's talk about the money back guarantee because this almost sounds too good to be true. And reel it back to you back in 2012, whenever this was presented to you. What did this say to you of being thinking about even joining ABS?
well, it didn't mean that much to me at the time. I mean, I think it's a great offer and that sort of thing, but my mindset was that I'm not going to fail at this, and I'm not going to have to worry about that.
Right.
Um, Anybody that is willing to put in the work and do their research and develop their skill set, they're going to get clients and they're going to earn enough money to satisfy, unless you're planning on being a trillionaire.
Yeah,
Well, heck, by the end of $1 trillion is not going to be what $1 trillion used to be.
that's true.
Thank you, inflation.
Yeah,
But I, I think that I think that everybody can fulfill what they want to get out of it. I mean, look, let's face it. There's probably somebody on the webinar right now thinking, I just want a little something to do in retirement, that sort of thing. We have people doing it all different ways.
sure.
Not everybody wants 100 clients. So,
Yeah. All right, I'm going to stick on through the next steps. Why don't you hang in there with me, Tim? If you don't have to fill out, just in case a last minute question comes in. But folks,
you
knowing that
you got me.
we got about 2 minutes left here. I'm going to take everybody through what we consider our next steps.
Mhm.
There's 6 easy steps, folks. The first thing that we want you to do is reach out back to your business coach here and ask them to get you the link for the downloadable research guide. This research guide is a huge PDF. Now, this is separate from the 5 successes that we offer on our website. So there's a lot of good information that you're going to want to pull. I've mentioned everybody about our YouTube channel, youtube.com/YABS. And the reason I say that is because I think you can type in absystems.com/blog. That's going to get you one group of this, and it's probably the same thing, but the YouTube channel has everything that I know that we've ever done in a webinar.
Right.
And you're going to want to go back over the last 2 to 3 weeks, because there's a lot of information that I've put out there, some pretty hefty information out there that you're going to want to go through. And then, Tim, they can talk to other ABS licensees. I'm sure that they wanted to. You're in that loop there as well, huh?
I'm in the list.
Yeah. So if people want to have a one-on-one with Tim, you'll get that scheduled through with your business coach. And obviously, Tim's pulled at all ends, but he will make time for you and get that done. We mentioned about a live demonstration. We want you to get a live demonstration. Again, this is another way to contact back with your business coach. They will be the ones to help set that up and kind of take you on a tour. Remember, don't forget to ask about going through the licensee support site as well. Then there's going to be a link that they'll send you that's going to have your purchase agreement. I think it's up to 5 pages. It's not anything big. If you've ever looked at a franchise purchase agreement, you might as well back the truck up, because it's a lot of things, and a lot of things you have to jump through the hoops on. Matter of fact, on this purchase agreement, you'll see on the first page where it talks about the refund policy. So folks, again, if you're not 100% satisfied with your purchase after the 30-day mark, or before the 30-day mark, you can still ask for your money back. There is not a business franchise or a business opportunity out in the world that we know of that gives this type of guarantee. And then finally, you want to get your funding going, send in your agreement, get your funding, and we could get you started as soon as late as next week. So this is great. So so Jacob's asking real quickly about a payment plan. Or is it a one-time payment? It is a one-time payment with us. Now, if you'll get with your business coach, they've got some sources, maybe some resources that they can kind of point you in if you need to kind of get some funding and how all that works. But they're going to show you and help you along the way on that. Jonathan says, give Tim a call. He's cool. So apparently you talked to a guy by the name of Jonathan.
Yeah, I think I spoke with him a couple of days ago.
So he says, yeah, give Tim
He said he was going to
call.
hang out with me, but I haven't heard back from him.
Well, he's here today. He says you're cool. So that's an awesome thing.
Thank you, Jonathan. That was mighty nice of you.
Yeah, that's great. Folks, if there's no other questions here, Tim and I are going to sign off. But if you've got any questions, feel free to get back with your business coach. Tim, it was a pleasure visiting with you again. Let's do this one more time before the end of the year.
Okay.
Let's do one more. That'd be great. Let's be able to do that.
Sure.
Let's see. No questions. Just wanted to say thanks to Tim for a chat and doing this webinar. And thanks to Eric for hosting these webinars. That was from Kiden. So yeah, you're very welcome. Tim, thanks so much. Appreciate everybody being on here. Everybody have a great afternoon and a great weekend. Thanks, Tim.
See everybody soon.
See you, buddy. Bye-bye.